Alright, so this is going to be a quick video on a ReKluse clutch install. 2011 KTM 250SXF. Right now I've got the cover off. It's going to be pretty self-explanatory. I don't know how much of this I'm actually going to video. There's a lot of other videos out there, but right now you can see there's my basket and plates. New clutch here, read the directions. This is going to be my first time install. New slave, all the other pieces. So I'm hoping that I actually don't have to replace the basket. It's a pretty old bike. I have no idea how many hours are on it, but I'm hoping that the basket is in good shape. All right. All right, so next, loosen the bolts that hold the springs on. Pressure, 8mm. I think the torque spec's 10mm, 10 Newton meters. One thing I do suggest is have a really good torque wrench. I actually found one off Amazon that I was pretty impressed with. I've used snap-ons, and the feel when it clicked the release is actually very much like a snap-on, so I was quite surprised. I'll put a link down below for it. All right, clutch springs removed. Next, I'm going to remove the pressure plate. Not much to it actually, not compared to the Mustangs I've worked on. All right, wasn't expecting that, but there you go. Pressure plate. Alright, so next I'm going to remove the friction disc and the steel plates. I'm only going to show removing one of them just because they're all going to be basically the same. Also, if you look here, you can see where the tab, the nuts actually got a washer that you have to tab up to lock it in place, similar to a sprocket. Torque specs, all that's covered in the manual. I'll have to review that to see. Other than that, it looks like it's pretty straightforward from here. I'm hoping that I don't have to replace the basket. The directions tell me to look for some stuff. Look for some markings on the side and see if it's there. I have to replace it. I hope that's not the case because it's $400, but definitely won't put something bad back in. All right, so friction disc, steel disc, and I'm actually going to try to keep these in the same order that I pulled them out with the same direction, just so I have something to look at later and kind of look and see, because this clutch definitely didn't like the shift. Bike didn't like the shift, and a lot of times when it was cold, when I would put it in gear, it would stall with the clutch pulled. Alright, so I have all the friction disc steel plates removed. They give you these clips and tell you to place it in the clutch basket. If you look, you'll see like a little tab that actually fits in. I have one installed there already. I'm going to install the next one beside it. It says down, and these actually, they're not so bad, truthfully. Once you get it lined up, let's just push it down, make sure it's seated. Sorry about the camera, but so there you go. That's 2 in. I got 10 more. All right, so I have all the basket sleeves in. You can see them right here between the basket. One thing I want to point out is when you put it in, make sure that they're not on the plate, and that they all should fit flush there, and make sure that the bottom side down, or the crossover piece above, is down. Now, so far this is going pretty good for the first time. Directions are really well written. Okay, so now I'm at the point where I let the disc soak in oil per the directions. It says 10 minutes, but I'm actually going to massage them around, separate them, get them good and soaked with oil, and then I'll install the disc. All right, next step, have my disc soaked in oil. Wasted way too much oil to do that. Probably should have found a better way, but that's the way I did it. Left it overnight. Didn't feel like finishing last night, so next day. This shows how the clutch discs go in. It's a friction disc, steel disc. Pretty much alternates out till I get to the EXP disc. That's how I'm going to put them in. I'm going to pull these discs out, let them drip dry a little, and I'll start back after I have them installed. Finally, all the discs installed. This is the ReKluse part right here. Next is pressure plate, springs back. Springs are provided. I'll install that, put the cover back on, and then I think I'm going to move over to the slave cylinder side. Pressure plate, springs back on, and bolts right there, 10 Newton meters torque. Have to get a torque wrench out. I'm going to assemble it, put the cover back on. Also, there's a spacer or bolt that goes there that I will have to put in. Do that now before I forget. There. Other than that, put the cover back on, and this side's complete. Alright, pressure plate needs to go back on. One thing I want to point out is that this place, don't forget to put this piece under the pressure plate. I'd actually assembled it once already, had to take it apart and put that in there, so make sure that that piece goes back. Also, show you, there is a rod that comes out as well, so don't forget that piece. It'll save you some rework. Okay, so springs are in, spacer's in the right spot. I need to torque it. This torque wrench I was talking about, I think earlier, I was actually very impressed with this torque wrench. Most of the 1/4 inch drives I've had in the past they'll snap the bolt before they actually torque out, but this has a very definite slip once torque is reached. I'm very surprised with it. I'll put a link down below. All right. ReKluse clutch installed. Cover back on. Moving over to the slave cylinder. That's the next part, final install, complete.